My name's Brian and welcome back to Desert Theory. Well, we have an exciting day today. We are finally getting the Jimco back out in the desert, and on the way there, we're gonna stop by Pyrotect and get a shop tour. Let's get going. It is absolutely a gorgeous day. We are so excited. How's everything looking in here, Cal?
Looking good, man. Ready to go. Just making sure she's all riding good and everything's tight. Straps are good. Yeah, it's exciting.
Let's get this thing to Pyrotect. Okay, so we're here at Pyrotect, the fuel cell side of their operations. And Tanner's gonna take us through a shop tour of this. But I think first, I'm gonna ask Tanner to just describe what is a fuel cell and why is it needed in a race car?
All right, guys, so the fuel cell, you need it in a race car because if you get in a collision or a crash or get rear-ended, this fuel cell right here has non-explosive foam in there, and the bladder will help it from exploding on an impact.
So it's super critical for the safety, but like mainly for fire safety.
Yes.
And then also like a metal can, like a fuel can on your car, if you got in a wreck, it could crack and start leaking. It could puncture and start leaking fuel.
Exactly.
So this
can, yeah, you could get into a hard impact and crush this can all the way to the fill plate, and the bladder will be fine. It won't puncture or leak. But if you use like a stock fuel cell, like out of a car, if you crush it like that, and then it'll leak, and then hit a hot exhaust and catch on fire, and then you got a big fire. Yeah. So like you could be fueling, and there could be a fire in the can, you wouldn't even know.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and then this foam will take all the oxygen out of the air, so the fire can't move through the fuel.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Okay. So like sometimes we'll get cans in, and there'll actually be a fire that happened in the can. You'll see there'll be like burnt spots, but they didn't know because the foam put it out.
So yeah, it's going to Australia. It's like a 3-piece cell, so there's like a bottom that comes off, this whole piece comes off, this whole piece slides off. So it's crazy how like some of the things that we get in are like puzzles. You just slide them together and it works.
So that's another thing too, with like a fuel cell, instead of being like a tank, square tank, you can shape it to any size and kind of maximize the fuel in the minimal amount of space.
Exactly. Yeah, and you can send us some of the craziest designs you want, and we could pretty much make anything between our fabricators and all the people that build the bladders and stuff. And you can make anything.
Yeah. These ones are 4 tires. Like we mount them around for the tires and all that for like trophy trucks. So like I'm pretty sure this is like a 45-gallon cell.
Okay.
And it optimizes the back. Like I'm pretty sure this is the firewall where the motor and stuff, and then the wheel goes and all that. Like this is probably one of the most technical ones that we have, in my opinion, just because of how big it is. It's one of the biggest cells that usually leaves our place. Other than that, they're like the flat ones, like the Racer Import one. But yeah, these ones I feel like hold the best.
Okay, so what Rain was saying there is this is probably out of a trophy truck, and then this whole area right here is where the spare tires would go. So again, the fuel cells can be made to fit your truck, your car, your race car in a way to get the most amount of fuel and also stay out of the way.
Exactly.
These are these just old bladders right here?
Most of them, yes. So like this one just came in recently, so we're redoing that one. This one still has like the tag number, so that's how you know we're still working on them and all that stuff. Like this one is already done, see it says finished, so that one's probably crashed. But yeah, usually this is where we put all of the ones that come into us and all that stuff.
Okay, so we're walking over here to the assembly side of it. We're gonna meet with Jerry, and he's just gonna kind of explain what he's doing right now.
I'm assembling some fuel pumps for manifolds and for the UTV cells, for the Can-Ams, Razors. They all get these assemblies on the inside. In-tank fuel tank. I mean, pumps.
And so every Razor that comes out of the factory that is then going to race needs to come here or needs to order a fuel cell. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Can-Ams, Razors. Yeah, they all get this set up right here.
So that pump runs inside the fuel cell to pump fuel out of the cell and into the motor. And then it goes onto a manifold piece? Is it going to something like this?
Yeah. And they have two pumps. They're connected to the manifold, so you can have a backup pump. So if one pump goes bad, you can switch, you know, go to the next one.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, so that's a pretty cool piece.
And this goes in a big trophy truck. You
Oh,
can see,
man.
you can look at how intricate, you know, this one is. It's just freaking huge, you know, 105 gallons, you know.
Wow.
on that one.
Wow. So are these pickup
Those are
filters or something?
They're called a hydromat, and those go down in the bottom of the tank, and they work really well. It picks up like all the fuel.
So it's sucking everything off the bottom of the tank.
It can be bent up like this, and only the corner of it in fuel, and it'll suck up all the fuel.
Wow, that's really cool.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, in theory.
Yeah, but they work really well. And this gets like two huge, big A1000 pumps, and it, you know, goes in, you know, big trophy truck, 1,000 horsepower motor. And
So it's pouring some fuel through.
Yeah.
Wow. That is a really cool piece.
Yeah, it's huge. This thing figured out, you know, what, 7.5 pounds per gallon, you know?
Yeah.
And that plus the weight of this, you know, this thing weighs close to
Yeah.
you know, 1,000 pounds when it's, you know, all
Full
done.
of fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so Jerry's going to kind of walk us through how they take a thing of foam that comes like this, and then the machine they use to cut it down.
Yeah, so this, we lay it down on the table, and this wire heats up, you know, and we have it all articulated so we can move it how we need to move it, you know, to cut the shapes.
So you'll take that whole block, put it up here, and cut either cubes for square cells.
Yeah, and then we'll draw our patterns, you know, on it, and then we'll cut our patterns into it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Is it just one type of foam?
Yeah.
You use, so
Yeah.
you don't have different
No,
foams
it's
for
just
different fuels
just a
or anything?
polyurethane foam, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so being from desert racing, I always think of Pyrotect as desert racing fuel cells, which is completely untrue. So we're going to walk through the sprint car side of their operations, where they're assembling some of the sprint cars. And anybody who's been around a sprint car kind of recognizes that back little coned area where we are. So
Yeah, so if you come this way, I'll show you what they're doing over here. So they'll take the bladders, they'll build them over there, and then they'll take them back here and stick them in the autoclave and cook them. And then once they cook them, they'll come over here and pressure test them and everything, make sure that there's no leaks in them. And they'll stick them in the water to make sure that they don't bubble. And then when we're done making the bladders for the off-road cars and the road course cars, we'll also bring them back here and pressure test them in a tank with water so there's no bubbles coming out. Yeah, right now he's actually taking all of the foam, or not foam, cardboard out of the bladder that we use to make the mold around.
So this has the fiberglass shell that we had on the ground over there. And then the bladder material, which is all seamed together.
Yep, and then what happens?
That's what holds
once it's
it.
cooked, yeah, they'll come over here and they'll break the fiberglass out of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, just because it's got something to hold it.
Yeah, to hold
its
shape.
form. And then once it's done with that, then you'll come over here and then you'll break all the fiberglass out.
Yep.
Fiberglass away, and then they'll start a new one.
So do you have to destroy that fiberglass?
Yeah.
Because the smoke, it only opens
Yeah, it only
right
comes
here.
out of this small hole. So it'll get broken out, you'll bring out all the pieces, clean it out,
Yep.
pressure test it, on its way to the customer.
Wow.
So what Tanner's saying there is pretty wild. Is just like in this fuel cell that he's working on pulling the cardboard out of it, they're going to pull the fiberglass out of all of these fuel cells. So the black material is actually the fuel cell, and the fiberglass molds that we walked by in the beginning are just to make this give it something to mold around. Okay, so we just kind of found one, the fuel cell, what they look like before he breaks all that material out.
So it looks like there's like a wood kind of structure in the corners, and then they're using cardboard on the sides, the walls and the floor to give it that shape. It just basically gives support for the bladder while they build it.
So we just came over here where they TIG weld everything together, and we're here with Tucker, and he's just going to kind of explain where he is in the process of welding this tank together.
Yeah, so I got all this all tacked up and halfway done welding here.
So this is a tacked.
Yeah, these are tacks here. So,
and then this is all complete on this side.
Yeah. So yeah, all this side's done. I'm gonna go ahead right now and put my hood on and run a bead for you guys.
Awesome.
Nice.
So we're over on the CNC side where they're actually cutting out, they're using a router, CNC router, to cut out the material. Kelly's gonna kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, so Tanner was telling me that this CNC router has a vacuum table, so it's actually able to suction the full sheet down to the table, and then they can program that cutting head to cut whatever shapes they need. And then there's actually a build order over here he was showing me that these are all the individual pieces that they've cut that'll go into, once it's all welded up, see all the different shapes, all the different sizes. They'll put the puzzle together, weld it all up, and then it'll be the outer shell of a fuel cell. It's pretty cool.
Okay, we're gonna walk back over here. Tucker's finished over here, so we'll go look at his weld, how much he got done on that.
Yeah, it doesn't look too pretty. Got a little shaky and messed up here, but
I'd say that looks pretty darn good.
I'd say his definition of looking shaky and messed up is different than mine. It looks pretty darn good. Okay, so we've moved over to the other shop. We are at the safety side of the Pyrotect operations, and Tanner's gonna give us a kind of a walkthrough of this shop.
All right, so in this shop, we got all of our helmets on all of our racks up in here. We have it organized by like our standard helmets to our forced air helmets to our carbon helmets up top. And then as we go back in the shop, we then move to seat belts and seats. Pretty much everything you need for driving, innerwear, gloves, shoes, helmets, anything to stop you from getting hurt in a race car crash.
Okay, so we're here at the safety side of the shop, and we were looking at the new head and neck restraints, and they're pretty cool. And for everybody that hasn't seen those or don't know what they are, I'm gonna have Tanner go over what this is right now.
So here at Pyrotect, we're actually a dealer for Next Gen. So the nice thing about these neck devices is they don't come over the front of your shoulder. So for off-road racing, when they don't come over the front of your shoulders, they don't bother your collarbones as much. Since there is not a hard portion pushing on your collarbones. So when you wear one of these neck devices, they're mainly used for a frontal impact. So if you hit somebody or something and you get in the crash and your body goes forward, if you don't have this, your head's gonna keep moving. This will stop your head from keep moving, and it'll save the back of your neck, your spinal cord back there, from separating and getting injured.
So in off-road or any kind of racing, you have a helmet on. So even more so than a regular wreck, you have the weight of that helmet pulling you forward. So he's going to kind of show you what that looks like and how it attaches to the helmet.
Yeah, so here's a helmet right here. The seatbelts will actually go over the neck restraint right here. So when you get in a crash, you'll go, the tethers will stop, the seatbelt will hold this from your head moving forward, and then that'll save you in a frontal impact.
So this is just a pretty slick new design. Like you said, it is very light. It's just a neat product. So if anybody's out there desert racing or side by sides or anything, it'd save you in all that. So pretty neat. Thanks for showing us that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Tanner.
So Tanner says this whole shelf is full of SA 2015 helmets. If you're looking for a helmet on a deal, give them a call. Okay, just an awesome day at Pyrotect, getting to go through both of their shops, both the fuel cell side and the safety side. Talk about quality people, quality products. Their customer service has always been great on the phone, and getting to visit their shop, really get to see why. It's because it's who they are as people. So just a great day. Now we're ready to get this thing out in the desert, get to driving it. So make sure and check back in next week and see us driving this car. Thanks for watching.